r/AskReddit by Redmond Dts. Men who unexpectedly lost interest in someone due to a weird reason. What was it? She used to talk about her ex so much that even I started missing him. I once lost interest when I discovered at the gym she constantly parked in the disabled spots. Who the F does that? It told me all I needed to know. She claimed I cheated on her in a previous life. I heard this from a family member about their co-worker. The guy had been happily married with kids for years until he had a stroke. Sadly, it made him hate his wife and kids immediately, leading to a divorce. He also had a complete personality change at work. As a husband and father, this scenario really frightens me. Her crazy ex-boyfriend, who wouldn't leave her alone. Yeah, that was actually her husband. Despite our relationship already being terrible, my wow I think I actually hate this person moment came at Badlands National Park. After we exited the gift shop, my girlfriend let the door slam into another woman's face. I apologized to the woman and then jokingly said to my girlfriend, "I can't believe you didn't hold the door for her." She got angry and retorted, "Well, you're the man. You're supposed to hold the door. I don't need to hold the door for anybody." That comment was an eye-opener for me, leading to the easiest and least heartbreaking breakup I've ever had. My cousin broke up with his ex because she was adamant that people around her were NPCs. That it didn't matter how she treated them because the NPCs didn't have their own feelings or emotions and they were there to tend to her whims. She was 19 at that time. Edit. The argument arose when he saw her treat retail workers and maids with apathy, sometimes downright disdain. According to her, they were eating into her uptime because they were lagging. On our second date, the waiter asked her if she'd like soup or salad with her meal. She said neither. He politely responded, "Oh, they come free with the meal." She actually yelled at him. I said no. I broke up with her on the spot. Haha, just kidding. No, I stayed with her, married her, and spent 15 bad years with her. We are divorced now, and when I look back, that soup or salad thing was the moment I should have seen what was going to happen to my life. I got woken up with a slap as I had apparently cheated on her in her dream. I couldn't be arsed dealing with that, so I left in the middle of the night. She spat in her hands and rubbed them together to wash them. I lost interest at lightning speed. She broke down crying in masses because her former boyfriend's mother would no longer be taking her out on girls' trips. I realized I was competing with a ghost, a fight it was impossible to win. So I just moved on. She told me that she had a multi-year affair with her best friend's husband. I told her, "I don't blame your ex-husband for leaving you, you're a bad person," and broke up with her on the spot. Instead of talking to me directly about any problems we would have, she posted them publicly on her blog. So many people have a false idea of my character because she would lie about me on purpose to hurt me. Still have so much trauma from that relationship and it's been way longer than I'd like to admit. Edit. This got way more attention than I expected. I just want to say, this was 10 plus years ago when I was still basically a teenager. I do not remember any information about the blogs, nor do I want random strangers reading it to begin with. Much of it was my own traumatic childhood being weaponized against me, and I'm really not comfortable with that information being public. Please stop asking. Liked this girl for a while. Was funny and easy to talk to via social media, were in the same city, but had different work schedules. Set up a date. Went to the restaurant early to ensure we were able to get a table because the place didn't take reservations. She shows up 20 minutes late, texted me 10 minutes after the fact. Strike one. She comes in. I pull the chair out and she sits down. I motion to the waitress that we are ready to order drinks and an appetizer. Girl is looking at her phone, which is fine. She's probably letting her people know she made it safely. 30 minutes later she's still looking at her phone and hasn't said much more than thank you to the waitress for bringing her drinks. I get up, talk to the waitress, and tell her to wrap up my food in a to-go box and let me know when it was ready and to take the girl her food after I'd paid. 15 minutes later still no conversation. Waitress gets my attention and holds up my food. I pay in cash and tell her to bring the girl her food when I exit the restaurant. 40 minutes later the date texts me and asks where I am. I tell her, home, where I've been for the past 30 minutes. She's upset and lets me know it. I tell her I sat at a table with you for 40 minutes before I decided to leave, and it took you another 40 minutes to notice I wasn't at the restaurant. How do you think that makes me feel? I hope you enjoyed your dinner and doom scrolling on your phone. Never really talked to the girl after that. Just completely lost interest that someone could be so socially oblivious. Not certain that qualifies as weird, but there it is. She stored rubbish, like her Uber Eats orders, in her TV cabinet and emptied it once a week when the bin truck came around. I dipped when cockroaches started multiplying. She changed religion. By which I mean she went from being non-religious to becoming a Mormon because a dude on his mission stopped her on the street and she agreed to join. She had started to complain that I was a pushover. Her reasoning that I had done 3 favors for a friend in the space of about 6 months without him doing anything in return. Ignoring the fact that he'd emptied his work van and helped me move about 18 months before and done some work for cost. And then I blew off an unimportant shopping trip with her to help another friend do some gardening. He was going through some relationship troubles. His wife was staying with her parents, and he was obviously struggling and needed some company, even though it went unsaid. She really wasn't happy about that. The last straw came when we were walking my dog. We ran into another dog walker and chatted for a little while. Both of us were carrying bags of dog crap after picking up after our dogs. I offered to take those because there was been a couple of 100 meters away the way we were going, but not one the way they were going. As we were walking away, my girlfriend was saying how horrified and humiliated she was that I would do something so weird and gross. I can't for the life of me work out why it's weird or gross. I was already carrying a crap bag that I had to throw away, so it was no trouble to carry another one. That was the moment I was sure we weren't going to last. So I was dating this girl Sarah. She was amazing, smart, funny, beautiful, all that good stuff. We'd been seeing each other for a few weeks, and I was really starting to think we might end up together. Then one night, we go to this fancy restaurant, right? The kind with mood lighting and expensive wine. Everything's going great until dessert shows up. She orders this chocolate souffle, and when it comes, she gets really excited. And then she does something super weird. She starts talking to the souffle. I'm not joking. Like, full-on conversation with it. Asking it how its day was, making baby talk noises, the whole bit. It went on for like 5 minutes. I was just sitting there, completely stunned. After that, I couldn't see her the same way. Every time I thought about her, all I could picture was her talking to that dessert. It was just too weird for me. She can't shut the F up. Constantly cuts people off, and after years of knowing her, she hasn't learned. I had to ask her out twice because she interrupted me mid wanna go on a date sometime. Kept reposting things on Facebook, things that made it appear I was mistreating her badly. Embarrassed and upset me, zero truth. Had my father complain to me because he thought I was beating her up. Zero idea, don't look at Facebook. Months and months of trash posts not directed at me, but certainly everyone assumed they were. We were in college. He was a rich kid, gifted a $50,000 car, and months later his 16-year-old brother was gifted an $80,000 car. He spent months in genuine distress. He was so angry about this. He made a presentation to his dad about how unfair this was, and then demanded dad either give him $30,000 to right the wrong, or to buy him his car of choice immediately, which was a Maserati. His dad ultimately gave him the money. This was like a 6-month saga. He would never shut up about it, despite repeated requests from me. During this time I was working full-time, a full-time student, and caring for my dad that was dying to cancer while simultaneously being bankrupted by it. It bred such a deep resentment that I actually ghosted him after almost a year of dating. She was very religious. I'm not. One day I came home to find her crying, like, completely inconsolable, bawling her eyes out. I got so scared, I thought someone died, or she was assaulted or something. Took me 10 or so minutes to calm her down, so that she would talk to me. Wanna know why she cried? She said, I'm worried because when we die, I will go to heaven, and you won't. I was single 45 minutes later. I really like games. Board and video games. I had a crush on this girl. I came to visit and play board games with her and the dad. The first time went fine, and she seemed kinda smitten too, and we had a lot of fun. I didn't win any of the games, but oh well, can't win every time. Then we 3 played again just a week ago. I came to visit and game again, and we only played games I had never played before. I somehow managed to win all of them, even when they forgot to mention a rule that actually gave me a good few minus points. She full on whined and stomped her feet and said, he doesn't have to win every time, and I bet you cheated. Instantly lost all interest, and I don't think I'll be coming over to game again. Every time I would stand close to her, I could smell piss. I thought maybe she was going through her periods or some UTI, but the smell was consistent for days and very strong. I just couldn't associate such a pretty face with such smell, so I backed out. Also, some people say I have a strong sense of smell, so that could be it as well. Something about her reminded me about my mom. Couldn't put my finger on it. She left the shopping cart in the middle of the parking lot instead of returning it. I dated a runway model once. She was very tall and extremely thin, maybe 6 feet tall, and 125 pounds. She was a knockout beautiful, but I guess she had an eating disorder, or a strict keto diet, and her body reeked of ketones. Her breath smelled heavily of it, but I could also smell it on her skin. I guess she was perspiring it. It is a weird sweet smell that really put me off, to the point that I couldn't be intimate or kiss her without it distracting me. She said she kind of liked AIDS because it might make some people think twice about premarital sex and the gay. It's not weird that I stopped liking her. I stopped liking her because that was weird, right? This was in the 1990s, during the peak of AIDS deaths in America. Her younger sister had a less severe form of the religious baloney about homosexuality, but eventually learned to open her heart. She was never gleeful about people dying. I should have met the younger sister first. It's happened a couple of times. They loved to tickle me. I freaking hate being tickled, especially when someone pokes my side, under the ribs from behind, when I'm not expecting it. Would not listen when I pleaded with them to not do that. Still did it after I told them I knocked a lad out at school when he did it years ago. He didn't do it out of malice. He was a friend. My reaction was to turn around and punch him. I hate being tickled. If those 2 women wouldn't listen to me saying no about tickling, they'd overstep my boundaries. Sounds petty, but there are reasons I react like I do to this day, and I'm the other side of 50. She told me that she believed the moon landings were a hoax, with complete and utter sincerity. I work for NASA. She was a well-educated lawyer. I once sat and had lunch with a coworker I thought was really cute. She was dipping cherry tomatoes in hummus and eating them. She was sticking her fingers into her mouth up to the knuckles. My little brother used to eat potato chips the same way when we were kids. It's horrifying. She told me evolution couldn't be true because monkeys still exist. We were hammered at a bar in Prague. For a second she looked just like my alcoholic aunt. That was enough. She doesn't drink water. Was very interested in a friend of a friend, and all three of us made plans to walk from a party to a concert that weekend. The walk was supposed to be a pleasant hour, but turned into an absolute slog as my crush wouldn't stop talking about herself for the whole trip. I spent the whole show with other friends to get away from her. She ended up marrying another buddy and then forbidding him to hang out with us. She had no sense of humor. It gets burdensome after a few years of dating. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more. Have a nice evening. Tell your friends about me.